Over the past week, protests were carried out nationwide, including here in the upstate. And this outrage is a reaction to the death of George Floyd, an unarmed black man in Minneapolis who died after a police officer used deadly force to restrain him. His death was all caught on camera by a witness nearby, and so has many other police altercations since the protests began. Today, I sat down with Dr. Alyssa Richardson, scholar of journalism, race, and digital activism, to dive into how video footage can be used to save lives.
There's no denying the callous nature of just someone kneeling upon the neck of a black man, and that imagery, that metaphor for what many black people feel in this country, just struck a nerve. And the cavalier nature, his countenance, just his face, as he likely felt George's life slip away, were so disturbing to so many people. And I think this video was so different because um, it's happening in real time in the way that Philando Castile's video disturbed us, because it was happening in real time.
We've seen a lot on social media as far as very vile videos and images of abuse and just African Americans being hit and getting bullets shot at them, tear gas. So just tell me a little bit about how that could possibly affect the movement and what they're trying to, the change that they're trying to enact.
I think smartphones do an excellent job of capturing things that may go under the radar. So before, if you think about any of the 20th century protests, or what some may call riots that started in major American cities, they all started with police brutality. If you think about Watts, you think about the Rodney King uprisings here in LA, where I'm based, it was all based on police brutality. So I look forward to a day where Black people don't need to prove on video that something terrible happened to them. When there are white victims of crimes, for example, mass shootings, we don't ask those questions. We don't say, well, I need footage of everything that happened in the moments leading up to that fatal moment in the Las Vegas Music Festival. When the Las Vegas Music Festival mass shooting news came out, it would be so callous to even ask, well, where were the citizen journalists? You know, is there something that could have tipped this person off to make them want to shoot into a crowd from a hotel, window? But I can Google Trayvon Martin today and find post-mortem pictures of his body laying on the ground. I find that very disturbing, not only as a journalism educator, but as a mother and as a Black woman. And I don't think that we are giving these videos the respect that they deserve. We should be looking at them like lynching photographs, very carefully, very solemnly, and with social justice in mind.
The people who are on Facebook and they see like a citizen journalist, a video that they recorded, and they're saying, oh, this isn't on the media. We haven't seen it on any of these major outlets. So that means it must be a fake video or it's not true.
Mm-hmm.
How can they come to the point where these videos are, they're true? They were recorded on someone's phone. Just because it's not on a major outlet doesn't mean that it didn't happen. How can they kind of get into the groove of this new smartphone recording?
It does take quite an adjustment to then trust what's coming from a jittery camera with bad audio and people yelling and screaming. All that panic and melee can, to some people, discredit the actual veracity of a video. What we have to get used to doing, though, is doing a bit of digging ourselves before we then just blindly repost. So this smartphone witnessing, this Black witnessing that people are doing with their phones is a dangerous thing. It's a necessary thing, and we should respect it because of all the fear and intimidation and panic that comes in that moment. We should honor those who dare to look. Media literacy wise is to make sure you have permission to share protesters at work. Make sure you have permission to share the deceased or the dying or the harmed, if you can contact a family member. And the other thing is to make sure that you're not just circulating these things in what academics is called virtue signaling. Virtue signaling is making sure it's kind of like a finger wagging to the rest of the world saying, you know, you should be on this. And if you're not saying anything, it's because you're part of the problem. Now, while that's true, there's a better way to get that point across. There are other images you can show. There are other things that you can talk about that don't always have to be the fire and brimstone imagery that we're so used to seeing on television. For some people, like Diamond Reynolds, who was beside Philando Castile that day in July 2016, that camera may have saved her life.
To learn more about the death of George Floyd and protests around the upstate, please visit our website at WSPA.com. Reporting in Greenville, Kristen Cheatham, 7 News.